Read all the stories about BYU sports no one else has heard. Go to KSLSports.com for exclusive columns by BYU insider Mitch Harper. That's KSLSports.com.
Final segment of the program, 1st and 12. Appreciate all of you being on board today on this Sunday morning, day after the rivalry game. Mitch Harper, Alex Curie with you on KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports Zone. We're heading down the home stretch to Arlington. And, you know, we
thought... did you get I got the email said, hey, apply for your media credentials. Are you already... I
did apply. Are you going
to make the drive down? Are you going to drive down to Arlington?
I would like to fly, but if our bosses say I have to drive, I'll drive.
Budgets are tight, man.
You gotta... They're very tight, and if we got to drive, we'll drive. It's better to drive to a Big 12 title than, suffer through covering a 5-7 season like it was last year. That was pretty rough.
Imagine? Here we are. We're in Shiprock, New Mexico. Just 16 more hours left of the drive.
Hey, and I will be forever grateful for, if I have to drive to Arlington, I'll take that any day over flying into Shreveport again. So I will always get my jabs at Shreveport.
Hey, listen.
I loved it, but
Did
it was...
you see the Pac or because the old Pac-12 teams, they have to honor those bowl affiliations.
Yes.
And technically this year, Shreveport is going to be one of those places that the Pac-12 teams, who, by the way, could be Utah if they get themselves 2 more wins by the end of the year, they can get that invite.
That might be enough incentive for the players in that locker room to say, you know what, let's
no
tank.
Thanks.
Let's tank.
We got to go 5-7.
We're going to Shreveport or we're going home.
Let's get one more win because, for pride, and then let's get a couple more losses so we don't have to go to freaking Shreveport. Ask Mitch Harper, how was it? Bail!
Sleet.
It was sloppy, cold. It was a mess, but my goodness.
We should probably expect that in the next week of Big 12 football. A sloppy, chaotic mess, but it's going to be entertaining and off the charts, and it starts on Friday night. Houston at Arizona, 8:15. Curious to see what changes Brent Brennan makes because he said going to have all these changes or kind of size up everything in that program. You're 1-5 though, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, Houston's going to go into that game. They're already leading Arizona in the conference standings. Arizona is going to get beat by Houston on Friday night on that late one on ESPN too. Saturday, you got quite the schedule here. Cincinnati and Iowa State. That game we haven't figured out when the kick is going to be or where that's going to be, but it's going to be Cincinnati at Iowa State. I want to see what the Cyclones can do because Cincinnati's no pushover, and so they've lost to worse teams already this year. But we'll see. I think Iowa State. I think Matt Campbell and his guys will probably get right. Utah is going to have an absolute early kickoff, a 10 a.m. on Fox kick against Coach Prime and his guys in Boulder, and they've got a lot to prove. And I'm interested to see what this one turns out to be like in terms of the early favorites, what the line looks like, what the over/under looks like, because Colorado's got a lot to play for right now. Like Arlington is in their grasp. The Big 12 championship game is in their grasp. It's right there. They have their own destiny in their own hands. And we'll see. And Utah's going to be in the way of that. And can Utah play spoiler?
And it's pretty nice for BYU, too, that even though you're the number one team in the league in standings, no one's talking about you still.
No,
it's all about Colorado.
Crazy.
It's all eyes on Colorado.
I think Yormark was wasn't he at Texas Tech in Colorado yesterday,
too?
He
was, yeah. Scott Draper, the football director of the Big 12, he was in Salt Lake. But, yeah, Yormark was in Lubbock. You would have thought he'd been there for BYU Utah.
He knows those Aflac commercials don't cut themselves. Let's go.
Baylor at West Virginia, 2 p.m. on Saturday. Should be a good game. I think two teams that, a lot better than the records would suggest in that one. Arizona State at K-State. Now, this is a good one in prime time on ESPN.
Who are you rooting for in that one? Because the reality is that ASU's knocking on the door. You almost want Kansas State to win that game because BYU holds the tiebreaker over the Wildcats. Anyway.
Here's my thought. I want ASU to win, make a case for College Game Day to go to Tempe.
Okay. Interesting. All right. And then Kansas and BYU wrapping things up for another late night next Saturday for us, starting in Provo. That's going to be an 8:15 kick, which, of course, will get slid to probably 8:24.
Yeah,
and
it always does.
And then you and I going to have another late night, and then we'll have another early morning. Why not? We love doing this program, though. Look, this job is tons of fun, and on top of it, nights like last night, the rivalry game, make it absolutely worth it as well. Download the podcast wherever podcasts are found. Come follow the show with Mitch and I every week right here on KSL News Radio and on the KSL Sports Zone. It's all brought to you by Macy's Grocery Store. Get the freshest fruits and vegetables from local farms and your favorite local brands. Macy's, happy shopping. Mitch, thanks for another show, man, in the books.
Great stuff, Alex.
All right, we'll see you next week. And so for Mitch, I'm Alex. We'll talk to you then, everybody, right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone and on KSL News Radio.